Ang kinabukasan ng mga susunod na henerasyon ay bahagi ng ating responsibilidad.
The Haring Bayan, the emerging of Filipino nation.
Good morning everyone, my name is Doniel Havana from Obtech M16, together with my partner, AJ Guzman from Obtech M17. We are going to tackle about the Haring Bayan, the formations of emerging Filipino nation. Haring Bayan, the formations of emerging Filipino nation. In our history class, there are two persons who have the courage to fight the rights of every Filipinos. One of the bravest among them is Andres Bonifacio. People wanted to live under a democracy and a republic where peace, freedom, and unity are all present. He even used the word Haring Bayan to mean that the Bayan people are supreme. Hari, which means that we Filipinos must rule or govern our own nation and not being manipulated by the colonizers. And now, let's proceed to Dr. Jose Rizal and what his role in the Haring Bayan, the formations of emerging Filipino nation. Who is Rizal as national hero? Up until these days, Rizal heroism has been continuously questioned by the people. However, despite of all the accusation, his deeds and influence and sacrifice for the sake of the country are still worth remembering and what matter most. La Liga Filipina is one of the group led by Dr. Jose Rizal in the Haring Bayan, the formations of emerging Filipino nation. Rizal had been very vocal against the Spanish government but in peaceful and progressive manner. For him, the pen was mightier than the sword, and through his writing, he exposed the corruptions and wrongdoings of government officials as well as the Spanish friars. Most of his writings, both in his essay and editorials, centered on freedom, specifically for the Filipino people. But among his best works, two novels stood out from the rest: the No Limitang Here and El Polibusterismo, The Reign of the Great. In both novels, Rizal harshly criticized the Spanish colonial rule in the country and exposed the illness Philippine society that time. And because he wrote about the injustice and brutalism of the Spaniard in the country, the authorities banned Filipinos from reading controversial books. Yet, they were not able to ban it completely as more Filipinos read the books. Their eyes opened the truth that they were suffering unspeakable abuses at the hands of the friars. These two novels by Rizal, now considered his literary masterpiece and said to have indirectly sparked the Philippine Revolution. Therefore, the significant contribution of Rizal to the information of emerging Filipino nation is that his novel inspired and awakened the Filipino fight against the colonizers. The legacy of Dr. Jose Rizal. Our most widely recognized national hero of the Philippines, named Dr. Jose Rizal, played a significant role in saving our country from the abuses that he experienced in the hands of the Spanish colonizers. Today, Dr. Jose Rizal's brilliance, compassion, courage, and patriotism are greatly remembered and recognized by the Filipino people, and it will be forever part of our history.
Andres Bonifacio and the 1896 Philippine Revolution. Before the Philippine Revolution started, in the year 1892, Andres Bonifacio undoubtedly joined Dr. Jose Rizal's organization called La Liga Filipina, which was mentioned earlier. La Liga Filipina aims to unite the whole archipelago into one society with equality for Filipinos and Spaniards in the Philippines. Unfortunately, the group met only once because Dr. Rizal was then arrested after the first meeting and they deported him to the southern island of Philippines. However, it didn't end there. In order to maintain the pressure on the Spanish government, Andres Bonifacio and the rest of the members revived La Liga Filipina. But he also founded a group called Katipunan. Katipunan, or officially known as the Kataas-Taasan, Kagalang-galangang Katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. Like the Liga Filipina, Katipunan also aims to arm resistance against the colonial government. Majority of the people who are member in the Katipunan came from the middle and lower classes. And soon, it established regional branches in some provinces across the Philippines. In addition, the Katipunan also served as an awakening call for the Filipinos to fight for their freedom. The KKK, or the Kataas-Taasang Kagalang-galangang Katipunan flag, that was developed during the Sigaw ng Pugadlawin, or also known as the Cry of Pugadlawin. The color red represents the blood and courage of the Katipuneros who stood ready to fight for freedom and shed their blood if need be. Moreover, Katipunan also aims to unite the country and to win independence from Spain by means of revolution. There, they made 3 decisions. First, they declared a nationwide armed revolution. Second, they established a national government. And third, they elected officials who would lead the nation and the army. And one of the elected officials was Andres Bonifacio. In 1895, Bonifacio became the top leader or Presidente Supremo of the Katipunan. His members grew from about 300 to more than 30,000. Also, along with his friends, Bonifacio published a newspaper called Kalayaan, or in English, Freedom. That time, the Spanish government began to realize that the Philippines was on the verge of revolt. And because of that, the authorities tried to take action by arresting hundreds of people and jailing them under charges of treason. Among those arrested was Rizal, who was on a ship in Manila Bay waiting to ship out for service as a military doctor in Cuba. Bonifacio, along with Emilio Jacinto and Guillermo Masangkay, dressed up as sailors and made their way onto the ship and tried to convince Rizal to escape with them, but he refused. Unfortunately, he was later put in a trial in a Spanish court and executed. Bonifacio kicked off the revolt by leading thousands of his followers to tear up their community tax certificates or cedulas, and this was the beginning of the Philippine Revolution.
Napakarami na ang naging biktima ng mga Espanyol. At mas marami pa ang mamamatay kapag hindi natin pinigilan ng kanilang pangapi. Ilang araw mula ngayon, sa gabi ng 29, sisimulan na natin ang revolusyon. Masdan ninyo ang munting papel na umaalipin sa ating lahat. Katipunan, kailangan na nating wakasan ang ilang daang taong pananakop ng Espanya. Kulang man tayo sa sandata, mas malakas man ang baril at kanyon ng mga Kastila. Lalaban tayo hanggang sa huling hininga. Tayo ang magtatagumpay dahil tayo ang mga anak ng bayan. Tayo ang nagmamay-ari sa lupang ito. Sa atin ang bayan ito. Ulitin ang mga sedula nyo! Mabuhay ang Katipunan! Mabuhay ang revolusyon!
The tearing of Sadula was known as the Cry of Pugadlawin, or also known as the Sigaw ng Pugadlawin. The Cry of Pugadlawin was originally referred to as the Cry of Balintawak. The cry defined as that turning point when the Filipinos finally refused Spanish colonial dominion over the Philippine Islands. With tears in their eyes, the people as one man pulled out their cedulas and tore them into pieces, accompanied by shouting, "Mabuhay ang Katipunan! Mabuhay ang Revolusyon!" Class 7 cedula was actually the type of tax receipt torn up by the members of the Katipunan. Finally, a nation was born on the 24th day of August 1896. Katipunan became an open de facto government. The society had been organized as a secret organization with its own laws, bureaucratic structure, and an elective leadership. It was the intention of Bonifacio to have the Katipunan govern the whole Philippines after the overthrow of Spanish rule. The heroic acts and sacrifices of all our national heroes made it possible for us to acquire freedom in our own country, and it created a great impact in the formation of an emerging Filipino nation.